Welcome back to class. Today we're going to be talking about scope. Scope is the idea of knowing where a variable is visible, and there are two types of scope. Global scope, which means that the variable can be accessed from anywhere, and local scope, which means that the variable can only be used and accessed inside of the function where it was defined. And variables defined inside of functions have local scope. Let's take a look at an example. Here we have a function, wish happy birthday. We have a message, which is a string, and then we return that message. Name and message are defined inside of this function, so it is a local variable. It has local scope. So if we wanted to print name or to print message, this is going to give us a name error because we cannot access either name nor message outside of the function where it was defined. Let's take a look at another example. Let's say we have first name equals Andrea, and then we have greeting equals wish happy birthday first name, and then we print greeting. So we can see wish happy birthday, the function, as an island. It has the name wish happy birthday, and name and message are on the island. If we want to get something to the island, we have to pass it into the function. So first name is going to get passed to wish happy birthday, and then wish happy birthday is going to return a value that we store into greeting. Let's talk a bit more about local variables and parameters. Let's say we have this function add2. We have the parameter num, and num equals num plus 2, and we print inside of this function. Since num is defined inside of the function, it is a local variable and has local scope. We define num equals 8, and then we print before the function num equals, this is going to print out 8 before the function num equals 8. Now if we call the function with num here is a variable with the value of 8. So we're going to pass that into the add2 function. When we do that and run that function, inside of that function, we're going to print inside the function num equals 8 plus 2, which is 10. We then print after the function num equals string of num. So num equals 8, which is the variable that we defined outside of add2, that still stays at 8. So after the function, it's going to print out 8. Let's look at another example. Let's say we have a variable with the value 3. We then define a function called multiprint that takes in a parameter text. We then do count equals 0, while count less than repeats, print text, and then increment count. What will happen when we print repeats? Well, repeats is the variable defined outside of the function, so 3 is going to print out. What happens if we print text? Well, it's going to give us a name error that says name text is not defined, because text is defined inside of the function. So that means it has local scope, and only the function can use text. We cannot access it outside of the function. What if we did multiprint of foo? It's going to go inside of this function where text, the variable, is going to hold the value of foo. We then say count equals 0, and then we do this while loop, while count less than repeats. Repeats is not defined inside of this function definition. It's defined outside of the function, so this function can use it because repeats is global scope, and therefore this is what's going to get printed out. We can then see what happens when we print count. Again, count is going to give us a name error because count is defined inside of the function, which means it has local scope. This also means that count cannot be accessed outside of the function. Head on over to STEM and do the exercise scope.